Welcome to Manosphere Daily. In today's video we'll explore the mindset of the modern woman from different perspectives. We'll look at a woman who says she doesn't compete for men, another who reveals the truth behind those male best friends stuck in the friend zone, and finally, we'll dive a bit into female psychology when it comes to dating. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 2,000 subscribers by the end of the month. Thanks to everyone who supports the project with super chats and shares their experiences in the comments. That's what helps this community grow. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Let's get started.
Genuinely confused about this. Why is it that prior to you talking to a man, they will get your attention by liking your Instagram stories, they'll be in your DMs, they'll like all of your posts, literally all of them. But then when you actually start talking, they will purposefully won't like your posts. They still might be in your DMs, they may like your stories, but when it comes to the in-feed posts, nowhere to be found.
People are still discussing an old version of you because they no longer have access to the person you are today. Access to your life is a privilege. Do not be afraid to cut people off who no longer have the same values as you. Remember this. Boundaries over bullshit, loyalty over status, and love over lies.
The love bombing for men on Instagram works until you open your mouth. That's when they bring you down from the pedestal they had put you on. Yes, men are visual, but once we interact with you, we quickly figure out if we don't like your personality. Typically, men just walk away silently instead of asking yourself why they stopped giving you attention. Maybe you should reflect on what you say or do. Perhaps it's your standards that scare them off because no one wants to compete with unrealistic expectations disguised as self-love. As for the second type of woman, what can I say? When they're approaching the wall, they get very philosophical. This woman, with her phrases about cutting ties, boundaries, and loyalty, isn't speaking from a place of personal growth but from one of survival. This is what happens when the market starts signaling that your best years are behind you. The worst part is they disguise this narrative as personal growth, but in reality they're trying to come to terms with the inevitable. The wall spares no one.
Anybody could have it. Why would I want it? I'm going to rephrase this in a little bit of a different way. If anybody could have you, why would I want you? Makes you rethink a lot of things, doesn't it? I don't want the man that's putting himself out every weekend, making himself easily accessible to whatever female that walks, because that to me is desperate. That to me shows that that man does not respect himself, and he most definitely does not respect women. The partner you choose in this life is a reflection of who you are as a person. Why would you want somebody who's acting like a buffoon, acting like a clown, when you don't act like that yourself? And ladies, if you are chasing after any man, I need you to take a step back. I want you to look at that perspective from a different point of view, and I want you to think of that man as a female. Because that's exactly the energy he's giving you. Men go after what they want. Women should never chase a man. I will never chase a man. I'll show you I'm interested, I'll leave that door open, and then it's up to you, buddy, to walk through it, because from there on out, you are the man. You are the alpha. You are the provider. Prove it.
It's a classic speech of a woman who couldn't hold on to the man she truly wanted. She talks about how, if anyone can have him, she doesn't want him. But the reality is different. What she doesn't say is that she already had that man, but he didn't stay. This is where female hypergamy comes into play. Men who manage to attract many women do so because they bring something to the table. Looks, social skills, money, or the infamous 666 apocalypse, 6 feet tall, 6-pack abs, and 6 figures in the bank. These are the Chads of the apocalypse. She claims she doesn't want a man who is accessible to everyone, but that's because she knows Chad doesn't play house. Chad pursues, takes the opportunity, and moves on. As she says, you open the door, he walks through it, but he doesn't stay because his focus was never on building something stable. Now, by raising her standards and demanding a provider, she's trying to make the next man work harder, but what she's really saying is, I was already with Chad, but he didn't want to stay.
If you have ever felt physically ill when you miss someone, or when you break up with someone, you feel physically sick when you're not around them, or alternatively, you meet a new person and suddenly you claim that they release all of your stress and you feel this sense of calmness when you are within their presence. This is a huge misconception which can lead to going back to toxic relationships or associating a toxic person with positive feeling. My name is April, I'm a neuroscience major, and I'm going to explain this phenomenon. There's a book called How Emotions Are Made that explains this very thoroughly, but in summary, our body has a body budgeting system. This is where our body learns to regulate everything that is necessary for survival, whether it's water, salt, glucose, anything that we need to live as a human being. Our body learns to budget this, and that means storing certain things for certain occurrences and using our perceived future to know how much we are going to need for upcoming events. For example, your body will store your adrenaline and epinephrine for when a stress response or fight or flight response occurs, and therefore your adrenal glands can now release this because it had it budgeted for it. When we are within the presence of someone that we love, whether it is resting with them or having sex, our body budget is replenished. This is associated also with when you are with someone in their presence, your heart rate and other body functions actually synchronize with that person. So even if you're sitting with your therapist having a conversation, your heartbeat is actually aligning with theirs, and therefore you are both balancing each other. In turn, this results in when you are not with this person and you're not maintaining that balance with them anymore, your body is trying to readjust and realign with itself, and therefore you might feel physically anxious or physically sick simply because you are not within their presence anymore. This also explains why when you meet a new person and you say, oh, well, I just feel so calm when I'm around them. I just feel so at peace with myself. It's because your body's literally aligning with his. It's causing you to be replenished of the things that you need for survival. Not that people cannot bring us peace themselves, but there is science behind this, and most of the time, this is actually a major contributor of this feeling. So next time you're missing your toxic ex and think that you just need to be around them because you don't know what to do with yourself without them, think about how this in turn is because of your body being regulated with theirs and balancing with theirs, and then it's not actually that you miss him a lot, it's that your body is just trying to readjust and realign with itself being away from that person.
When a woman betrays you or wants to leave, the worst thing you can do is chase after her or beg her to stay. Remember, absence anxiety and uncertainty will always be your best allies. A man who shows too much hunger doesn't eat because women are emotional and respond to stimuli that spark intense feelings, not to predictable routines. Chad gets it. One day he treats her like a queen, and the next he's distant, causing her to enter a competitive state of stress, wondering how she can win him back. On the other hand, the beta provider makes the mistake of offering only constant love, overwhelming her until she loses interest. Love isn't felt in company, it's felt in absence. It's when she's alone at work, thinking about why you haven't texted her, that she starts to truly miss you. Putting her on an emotional roller coaster with calculated ups and downs is what keeps her interested. The mistake is being too available because a man who shows desperate hunger will never be attractive. Brother, give her the space to remember you, to feel the void and desire to fill it with you, not someone else.
You. Like, we're just going to watch the game. I thought we were just being chill.
Oh, I just like this.
Girls that have ever had a friend that secretly hated them deserve an award. It takes you so long to not gaslight yourself into thinking, okay, no, she's a real friend. Like, she just meant it in this way and that way. Like, you're making like a defense for them in your head. When in reality, all the signs are there. They literally act like this. You're just sitting there like, no, she would never think that. She would never do that. Constantly giving her the benefit of the doubt. When in reality, she does not like you. She's just pretending. And we talk so much about dating and facing the music when it comes to terrible guys, but we should talk more about facing the music when it comes to terrible friends. And friends that are fake, friends that gaslight, friends that love bomb, because friends that love bomb is a thing. Here's the thing, guys, when it comes to having standards and boundaries and being a pretty girl, it's in all areas of your life. Just because you stand up for yourself when it comes to guys or whatever, like you have standards and boundaries when it comes to that area of dating, doesn't mean you shouldn't do the same thing in the area of friendship. Personally, I think friendship and dating are equally as important. Of course, one has more long-term effects than the other, in the sense that one you can literally have a family with, and I'm not saying friends can't be family, but you guys know what I mean. But friends have a huge impact on your life, on your mind, how you think, how you act, where you go in life. Just like that famous quote says, show me who your friends, I'll show you your future. Friends are important. Don't keep a bad friend around or a fake friend around just because it's convenient or you guys have been friends for a while or because you love them. Let go. I promise you it'll be okay, and greater friends are coming your way. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but I love you guys. Stay pretty.
Some help. A man who positions himself as the friend of an attractive woman always ends up as the typical resident of the friend zone, the one who wants something more but doesn't have the courage to say it. That's why, personally, I don't believe in single male friends hanging around my partner unless they're in a stable relationship. A single man who is constantly hovering isn't there for friendship. He's in love, waiting for his chance. I say this from experience. I've seen it too many times. Moreover, these friends are often the first to subtly criticize the woman, using little insults disguised as jokes to chip away at her self-esteem. They're also the first to badmouth her partner, acting out of jealousy. Since they don't act with masculinity, they end up behaving like gossipy, effeminate types, trying to gain ground through poisonous comments. That's why men who are truly masculine don't tolerate partners with friends hanging around. We know they aren't friends, they're hopefuls waiting for their moment to step into the game. Brother, that friendship is never selfless.
I think it's so unattractive when guys get like insecure about a girl's social media.
One time a guy came up to me in a club and he asked me for my Instagram. And I didn't really want to give it to him, but I just did. And once I gave it to him, he's like, okay, now show me. And I was like, show you? I just gave it to you. And he's like, no, like show me. He wanted me to pull out my phone and show him on my phone that I gave him the right account. And I was like, this is so weird. Like he was one of those guys, but I just did it because I didn't want to get in a fight with some random guy in a club. Just do it and be done with it. And once I pulled out my phone and showed him, what also popped up was all the notifications from the posts that I had made earlier that day because I hadn't logged back into Instagram since. And he just looks at it. He looks at me and he goes, why do you have so many notifications? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Like I literally said, I don't know, because that's a dumb question. What else do you say? And he just looks at me with the most disgusted look. He scoffs, he rolls his eyes at me, and he walks away. I'm
like the direct approach can work if you have good skills for getting a woman to open up and talk, but everything depends on the context. You need to observe her surroundings, who she's with, and whether she's showing signs of being alone and open to being approached. This doesn't mean acting without common sense, and especially not in a club where the environment is already complicated. Once you've captured her attention, don't ruin the moment with something intrusive. Asking her to pull out her phone to show you her Instagram is a clear example of bad taste and a lack of confidence. As my sales professor used to say, common sense is the least common of the senses. If a woman were to give me a similar demand like, take out your phone, I'd see it as a red flag. This kind of insecure behavior isn't just uncomfortable. It also shows a lack of maturity. Brother, if you've managed to get her contact info, you've already won. Don't sabotage your chances by demanding more than necessary. What do you guys think about this kind of attitude? We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, here are some questions for you. What do you think about a woman who says she doesn't compete for any man? Have you ever had trouble with a so-called best friend of your partner? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from Manosphere Daily.
And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.